On the island of Sodor, all of the engines try to be really useful.
Some are boastful and pompous, some are prideful and high maintenance, and some are very kind.
Steam engine or diesel engine, all of these engines try to work really hard, and some of them try to work better than others, which causes a huge argument.
One day, the Fat Controller arrived at the sheds. "Engines, we all know that teamwork is everything, so I was thinking that you and the Diesels could work together to make jobs quicker." And then the Fat Controller left. Who does he think we are? A bunch of low-class oilers? Yeah, what's the deal with him leaving us with a bunch of unreliable, pompous Diesels? You should at least give him a chance, said Edward wisely. Give them a chance? Pah! And the engines went on and on about how much they disliked Diesels. These younger engines never learn, thought Edward. The news soon spread like wildfire, and all of the engines were very cross with each other. The first argument took place when Diesel oiled up right beside Alfred when he was taking coaches from Brendam. "Hello, Stinky Simi." "Oh, I'm not even going to start with you lot." "Leave it to a steamy not to take a funny joke. Either I'm not thinking straight, or that was the worst joke I've ever heard in my entire life as an engine." "Don't push your luck, Alfred." "From what? Being dropped into the sea from trying to be the strongest engine in the world?" "That growl makes me want to join you in the sea. Anyways, aren't you late for your next train?" "You got me this time, Alfred, but next time I will get you back." "Paw, yeah, right. I heard that." Derek and Boko were the only really nice ones, but the rest of the Diesels were actually really horrid to the steam engines. And I'm sorry to say that the Diesels were forced to sleep in the same sheds as the steam engines, and they argued all night long. "Has the Fat Controller gone mad? What is the deal with him putting us with a bunch of waste of oil?" "Yeah, keep telling yourself that. But at least we're more efficient. One fill of oil and a touch on the starter and we're off. They have to fuss around for hours to get you to work." Boko and Derek were horrified. They were ashamed to see their own type of engine be so rude like that. "Thanks for the offer, but I really do not want to be like Mr. Teething Troubles over there." "Oh, so you're really gonna say that, you small mindless steampot?" And all of the engines argued and argued, until suddenly there stood the Fat Controller looking very red in the face. "Oh my gracious, this is the worst verbal behavior I've ever heard from you engines. If this behavior continues, you steam engines will be turned into diesels, and you diesels will be turned into steam engines." And with that, both the steam engines and the diesel engines stayed quiet for the rest of the day. The steam engines and diesel engines were still cross with each other, but they really tried to hide it. But whenever the chance came when the Fat Controller was not around, they would argue for hours and hours on end about who's better. And even kind old Edward got really annoyed with the diesels. But other than that, the engines actually worked really well on this railway, and the Fat Controller was very impressed on how great they worked. And most of the diesels and steamies actually tried to avoid talking to each other, just to be safe from any sort of argument. And the Fat Controller actually praised the engines and how well they worked, and he said that they won't be turned into diesels or steamies if they continued working together really well. Meanwhile, Derek and James were arguing at Knapford. "Stupid oil drum," said James. "Oh, hello there, James. Do you got any more tar tankers to crash into?" "Oh, shut up. At least I did not come to this railway with teething troubles." Meanwhile, while Derek and James were arguing, Scruffy and the trucks were planning on making Derek crash, and they were just plotting and plotting and plotting on how they would do it.
How about when Derek starts, we can make him crash by holding him back? Ah, yes, that does sound like a good one. Or we can make him go on down a hill to make him crash. Yes, that does sound like a good one. Let's do it.
Also, meanwhile, Sir Handel Brown, one of Sir Topham Hatt's best friends, was listening to Derek and James arguing. He went over to see what was the matter. "Why, hello there, Derek and James. How are you lads doing today?" "Oh, I'm doing just fine. Have a good evening." "Odd engine, that is." "Agreed." But as Derek was oiling along the tracks, it happened. "Botheration," said Derek sadly. "Ho ho!" laughed both James and Sir Handel. "That's just wonderful." Wilbur and Molly were in the works for routine maintenance. "Alright, all I need to do is just put this oil drum here. Alright, I need a smoke now." But the workman accidentally dropped his lighter right next to the oil drum, and for some reason that melted through and it started a huge fire in the shed. Thankfully, the workmen did not get hurt because they ran out so quickly, but the engines were stranded in that shed. Meanwhile, Diesel was planning on playing a trick on the Steamies, but then he saw the fire and he freaked out. Diesel immediately dashed to the turntable to save those engines. First, he got Wilbert. Then, he got Molly right afterwards. Right after he got Molly, the building collapsed. "Thank you, Diesel." "Are you doing all right, you two?" he asked with triumph. "Thanks to you, definitely." "You know, you Steamies aren't really that bad. You are really good engines, and you are really brave." From then on, instead of a rude comment or a rude "Whoosh!" instead, they got some really good compliments as soon as they passed each other. And yes, that Vickerstown shed was fixed with time.